So let me get this straight. I knit a sock, and now I'm expected to knit another sock? I didn't get that memo. Hi everyone, my name is Diane and this is My Pink Bathtub Knits. Welcome. Welcome if you are new and welcome if you are a returning subscriber. It's nice to see you. I did it. I did it. I finished my sock and I'm here to talk all about it today. So let's get right to it. I think it looks pretty good. What do you think? I have it in my O Canada project bag. And I use the Crazy Sock Ladies vanilla sock pattern on DPNs because DPNs are not the devil stick. They are my needle of choice. I knit a lot of mittens and toys, and I don't like sewing up seams. So I feel very proficient in using DPN needles. I used my Kollage needles, which are a 2.25 millimeter needle. Kollage is a company in Ontario, Canada, and these are ergonomic DPNs. They are square, very, very comfortable on the hands. I would highly recommend them. The yarn I used is this Barocco sock yarn. This is super duper colorful. It is more color than I normally gravitate to, but I'm starting to feel like color is for my feet. This is a superwash wool, 75% wool, 25% nylon. The color is 14108. What I did, or how I did my sock, and I am no sock professional, I knit this essentially in 3 sittings. Obviously, it's a cuff down construction. I probably got up to around here on my first sitting. I just went to town on it. I mean, once you get the cuff done, you're essentially just doing straight knitting in the round. I use these little stitch markers to keep my place for every 10 rows. Then I put it away for a while, picked up another project, and I felt like I was knitting with logs. When you're going from a 2.25 to something like a 4 millimeter, it is quite the difference. I then picked it up a second time, probably a week or so later from when I cast it on, and I did the heel up until probably around here when I was just getting back to the straight knitting. I think I'd done the first, had at least a couple of these stitch markers. And then I let it sit. And it sat and it sat and it sat. And I mean, it was practically growing mushrooms. It was sitting so long in this dark little bag. Nothing was going on. And yesterday I decided, no, I'm going to get this done. And I finished the remainder of it. The things I liked about it, I enjoyed the self-striping yarn situation simply because it was a very meditative, simple knit that it kept it interesting for me. It kept it very interesting. I also found it was really easy to count the rows with the self-striping. And the few rare times that I may have lost a stitch and had to pick it up, I found it quite easy to find it. Now I did, when I was doing this portion, I believe the pattern said, depending on your size, to measure 1.75 inches from the end of your foot. So I did that, but I wasn't 100% sure how long it was going to take, so I kept trying it on. And I kind of wanted to finish with my last 10th row, which is where I've been putting these markers. So I kind of overshot it by 1 row, and I did rip it back 1 row, and I found this very fine, thin fingering weight, very challenging to get back on the needles because it just seemed to slip. But I'm very happy with it. I love the color. I don't want to like jump in and do the second one right away because I have too many other things on the go. I will finish it, I will, but it might be a while before I do. So what do you think of my first sock? I like it. In fact, I'm going to put it on my foot right now while I talk to you and do a weird, I only tried it on the one foot. Is it true that I've got a skirt on? Is it true that one foot is always bigger than the other? It fits nice. I know people, it fits quite nice. I know people often will make a foot form for themselves. And by that, I mean get a piece of cardboard and trace out your foot and then put all the lines and stuff. I'm not at that point in my sock journey. So Crazy Sock Lady, if you're into knitting socks, you obviously know who she is on YouTube. The thing on the pattern was it would have timestamps of when they were discussing certain parts of the pattern. You could just go onto her video and look at a section. I did look at the heel section just to make sure that I was doing this part correctly from the way I was reading it in my head, which I luckily was. But yeah, actually finished something. I'm going to call this a win. I'm going to call this, I know it's a half-finished project, but I'm calling it a finished project so we can get on to something else. A few weeks back, I went on a road trip with my friend Dude. We went to the Austin Woolen Mills grand opening, and I purchased some 100% alpaca yarn from them. I have discovered, and I was also told when I was there, that it can grow. It doesn't keep its shape very well. It doesn't have a memory. And when you make something, expect it to be bigger than it really is. What can I do to hopefully make a successful project with this that is going to somewhat keep its shape? And there was some suggestions that you hold it double with something else that will keep its shape. And mohair was a bit of an example. So I went online and I did do an acquisition purchase. This was prior to May the 1st because May is my no-buy month. It's hard. It's hard not to buy yarn. I found this. So I bought enough of this mohair to hold with this for a future project. Again, I'm thinking of doing something for myself, some form of a garment. Was wondering if any of you had any experience with 100% alpaca when you create something with it, and if you've held it together with something to help resist that extra stretch. This mohair is 57% mohair, 28% silk, and 15% wool. 212 meters, 25 grams. So I thought that color combo would be really lovely together. I'm still in my thinking phase of what to do with it. Maybe a cowl or some form of a wrap. I was kind of thinking a vest. I was thinking a vest would be very pretty in this. And if it ends up being longer, I'm okay with that because I like longer garments because I usually always wear like tights. So that is my one acquisition to share with you for May, which was technically bought at the end of April, but I still look at yarn every day online. I can't help it. I cannot help it. It is a hobby. It's a hobby. I forgot to mention it a couple episodes ago, and I apologize, Robin. And a fellow YouTuber, Roaming with Rover, who is also known as Robin, has a channel. He is collaborating with other people and doing lives with them. She does markets, so she talks about her markets. I feel like every time I've been going on YouTube lately, she's got something new on there. I did really gravitate to her because of her markets, because I am also a market maker. We'll talk about this in a minute. And she sells her crochet products. I don't know if she knits as well. Her products were not maybe selling as well as they were in the past. So she has done a bit of a pivot and decided to start making earrings. And they have really been taking off for her. And she's talked about her experiences with these earrings. So I reached out to her and I thought, you know, I don't wear a lot of jewelry, but I did want something to wear to my markets. And I asked her about bathtubs, if I could commission her to make me a pair of earrings. And she did. So these cute little things are going to be something I will be wearing at my markets. It's a cute little white bathtub. They are lightweight, so I'll probably like wear my hair up. I'm a Canadian, she is in the US. With the exchange and the shipping, it ended up being a little bit more than I was expecting, but I was committed to my order and I really wanted to support her. In the package, when it arrived, she sent me a very cute card and she sent me a couple of extras. I am going to be doing Christmas in July. So thank you so much, Robin. If you have not seen her channel before, Roaming with Rover, I will put her details below. Please go check her out, show her some love. I've still been slugging away at my market knitting, and when I last showed my whips, I was casting on the 16th pair of mittens. I've made some progress. In fact, I'm on my 23rd pair. I just kept knitting them. I didn't finish them. But what I did do is I put ears on everything that needed ears. So it's a progression. It's a progression. I did manage to make one more pair of each of these, which are going to be cats. I did a black pair for black kittens. I also am working on fox mittens now. I've got a third pair on my needles of these ones, and I'm happy to announce that the foxes are back on our property. A couple nights ago, I was in that weird phase of I should really go to bed. I turned off the TV. There was no music playing. It was quiet. Hubs was out in his shop, and I heard this really weird screeching sound that I'd never heard before. It sounded like a dog in pain. Well, it wasn't a dog, it was a fox, but he was loud. I went to the window and looked, and I saw him frantically running back and forth in our front, on our front property. So I don't know, I'm assuming it was a male. Males will screech or scream, as they like to say, during mating season to attract the females. They also do it to kind of mark their territory and let other predators know that this is their land. The female will scream when she's actually mating, but I only saw one and he was running back and forth frantically. So they're moving back in. They've re-signed their lease in the condo and they're going to be back on our property, and I'm very excited. I have seen quite a few rabbits in the last couple of weeks too, so that's going to diminish when the foxes actually stick around. But I was very, very thrilled to see him. He did kind of scare me a little bit because it was incredibly loud and I'd never actually heard that fox scream before, so it was quite fascinating. Back to the mittens. I also made 3 more of the polar bear mittens. So yeah, this is a work in progress. This is for my fall markets that I sell at. So I'm just kind of been in the mood to do this and not finish anything. But I also cast on a new project. We have been doing a bunch of work in our yard, just doing lots of spring cleanup. But here is my, speaking of foxes, my fox bag that I shared with you last time. I realized that this is probably something just so you can hang it on a hook. But, you know, when someone has a bunch of whips, why not start another whip? Why not? For any of you that follow Claire Garland's work, also known as Pebbles, she is a toy designer. She's got several books. Well, she had a new pattern that came out, and if you are subscribed to her newsletter, you get information sent to you in your email, and there was a free pattern called the Honey Bear. This is what he looks like. I mean, when I see him, I think of Winnie the Pooh, but I know you can't really call things that because of licensing, but I thought I really want to make him. So I did start him last night. Now the pattern itself called for smaller needles, but I was just using yarn that I have and decided to up the needle size. So I'm using 3.75 millimeter and 4 millimeter needles as opposed to the 3 millimeter and 3.5 suggested in the pattern. I linked it below because it is for sale now on Ravelry. And these are the two colors that I chose that were from my stash. Now, this is actually Patton's Classic Merino yarn, but I received this from Cambridge Fibers Limited when I did their advent calendar at Christmas time. When I requested it, I did ask for some wool products and asked what she had. She told me she had this brand, and I asked, pretty please, can I have some? And oddly enough, I got these two colors, which when I looked at it, I thought of Winnie the Pooh right away. So this is a 4-weight yarn, hence the larger needle size. And I just started it. It is knit in the flat, and I'm going to have to do seams, but this odd shaped thing is the head. And there's a whole bunch of stitch markers you have to do. So there's a little bit of almost origami situation that you're going to have to, this is his snout, you're going to have to do, and his eyes, you had to put holes for his eyes. So I just started him, but he's just adorable. I don't know if you know this, but Winnie the Pooh, the actual true story of Winnie the Pooh he was sort of a rescue bear that a Canadian soldier adopted. I'll see if I can find a link below of the story on YouTube. But the Canadian soldier was from Winnipeg, which is in Manitoba, which is where I live. So he was kind of called Winnie for short. But that is another project that I will probably fail to finish, but not really. Just going to keep focusing on that. I don't know when I will start that second sock, as I mentioned. Does anyone else struggle with second sock syndrome? I definitely want to finish it. I really liked the finished result. And I really like that pattern. In fact, I have quite a bit of fingering weight single hanks that are colorful, that maybe came into my possession, not necessarily something I purchased. But I think I'm going to wear color on my feet. I think that is the thing to do. I'm going to leave you now with some photos of the Aurora Borealis. The news had said that the solar storm has not been this intense since 2005. There was a lot of beautiful photos online about it. These are just something off of my back deck. I tried to do a video, but it didn't really do anything. I felt I had to do the night mode to get it captured, to get the color. So please enjoy this on your way out. I hope you're doing well, and we will see you hopefully soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.